San Diego was quickly thrust into the national spotlight when it was learned that 2 of the 9/11 hijackers actually lived in Claremont and in Lemon Grove. Sheriff Bill Gore was the special agent in charge of San Diego's FBI field office 10 years ago. He joins us this morning. Sir, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Morning, Ralph. Thanks.
Let's try to take us back to 10 years ago. Where were you on 9/11 and your reaction?
Well, when I first got the word, as a matter of fact, my sister-in-law called me from Sacramento and wanted to know what the heck was going on. I thought I'd done something to offend her. She just turned on the TV. I went to turn on the TV, and about that time, the office started calling, and that was the beginning of quite an ordeal, not only for the FBI, but as we know, for the entire country.
So we mentioned you were the special agent in charge 10 years ago. So basically for the FBI, for us here in San Diego, you are the man in charge of everything. What happens in that instant when all the phones start going off? How does the FBI react, and what is next?
Well, it was instinctive that morning. Everybody knew to report to the office. We put out the word to our partners in our Joint Terrorism Task Force, local law enforcement, other federal law enforcement agencies, military, and by 9 o'clock we had them all assembled at our office up here in Kearny Mesa to kind of debrief, get all the intelligence we had of what was going on. As you know, the story was still unfolding. We had the planes going to the Pentagon, the plane out in Pennsylvania, so it was our first reaction was to try to get as much intelligence as we could, also to protect our own infrastructure. We didn't know if there were going to be other attacks around the country.
I wanted to ask you about that, the FBI building and other buildings here in San Diego. What goes into effect at that moment to protect those buildings?
Well, from the FBI standpoint, we closed off our public access, closed our gate to our parking lot. We had snipers on the roof. And I think that was probably the action taken by most federal buildings around the country because you didn't know the magnitude of the attack. Was there going to be other follow-on attacks after the initial plane crashes on the East Coast?
That was the mentality just moments after the towers came down. 2 of the hijackers we know spent part of most of 2000 here in San Diego. What can you tell us about those 2?
Well, we had two of the hijackers. One got here, both of them got here in January of 2000. One left in June, the other one left in October. You know, we knew early on, probably by the end of the first day on 9/11, that these 2 individuals had been participated in fact, it took off from Dulles Airport and flew into the Pentagon. They found cars in the parking lot at Dulles that led them back to San Diego. So we were, you know, up to our neck in this investigation on day 1, tracking down their whereabouts, and our main thrust was to identify whether there was a support mechanism, whether there are other people here that were supporting these 2 hijackers that lived here in 2000, and to identify their contacts, who they associated with, and fill out the investigation.
What was your reaction to the government reports after the attacks and in the subsequent, obviously in the decade that's passed since?
Well, I thought it was a very, you know, we had joint intelligence reports, we had an Inspector General report, and we had the 9/11 Commission. I thought they were, to varying degrees, probably the 9/11 Commission was the most comprehensive and informative. I couldn't put it down, to be quite honest, when you start reading about it. One of the unfortunate, I think, items in the 9/11 Commission was a misinterpretation by some people when they talked about missed opportunities. And one of the missed opportunities they identified was the fact that the CIA had information about the 2 hijackers that lived here going back in 2000, and that information wasn't passed to the FBI. And when they talked about missed opportunities, they said had that information been passed to the FBI, because these 2 hijackers lived very openly in the San Diego community, that we could have, even if we got the information after they left, we could have tracked their whereabouts, and it could have been an opportunity to maybe interdict them, although they had not broken any laws, they were in the country legally, but at least we could have tracked their whereabouts after San Diego. So I think that got interpreted as the San Diego FBI had done something wrong, but I think that's an incorrect interpretation. What they were saying is that was a missed opportunity. That was a failure to coordinate things properly in the U.S. government between the CIA and the FBI.
I think we saw a lot of problems with the communications between a lot of the agencies. So in the 10 years since, how has the FBI, local police, sheriff's department, how have they all changed in the way they communicate with each other?
I think prior to 9/11, we had a lot of laws and guidelines that we all had to operate under that really prevented the good sharing of information. Since 9/11, with law guideline changes, there's almost a seamless integration of not only federal intelligence between the CIA, foreign intelligence gatherers, and the FBI and Homeland Security, but I think the most important thing is they've incorporated local law enforcement into the intelligence arena, which had not been done before. We have 800,000 local cops out there every day of the week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not to take advantage of those eyes and ears out there was a shortcoming. in our preparedness in this country. And I think in the last 10 years we've done a very good job of integrating local law enforcement into the big mix of intelligence gathering to keep this country safe.
Has enough been done? I mean, obviously the question everybody wants to know, are we safer now than we were 10 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a lot has been done, but
it's a balancing act, Raul.
Yeah.
It's a constant balancing act. We don't want to destroy the very things in this country, the freedoms and the liberties that we enjoy, and overreact to an attack like 9/11. So we're constantly balancing the privacy rights and the freedoms that we enjoy in this country with the need to gather intelligence and protect our country. I think we're clearly a lot better and a lot safer than we were on 9/11. Can we be safer? Sure, there's always room for improvement. But I think just the fact that we have not had a major terrorist attack in this country in the last 10 years speaks volumes to the type of work that's been done at the international, the federal, and the local level to keep this country safe.
What are your plans for Sunday to mark the 10th?
I'm going to participate with other chiefs and public safety officials in at Qualcomm Stadium during the Charger game. It's a Public Safety Appreciation Day, so I'll be down there.
Sheriff Bill Gore, we certainly thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks, Raul. Good being here.
Thank you for all your
Thank
service, obviously, and all the work you did 10 years ago.
Thanks.
And be sure, by the